Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in to this not spur of the moment Q&A session, but sort of last minute Q&A session. I know we're gearing up for the end of 2021 and we're gearing up for Christmas and a holiday break. So I just wanted to take the next hour or so just to go live with you to answer some questions before you get ready for a break. Good to see everybody. Looks like we got a good crew here already. Karen says hello. Welcome, Karen. Great to see you. Hope I get this close. Is it Casey? Is it just Casey? Is it easy as that? Most of you know I'm not the best with names. So what I would love is if you can drop in the chat, say hey, and say where you're watching from or listening from. Be awesome to see where everyone is at. I am going to be using some new streaming software because if you're curious, one of my goals for 2022 is to go live for you a lot more. I want to do more lives and answer your questions in real time, and really looking forward to helping you in your web design journeys in the beginning of the year and right now as we end in this year. Joan says, just found this invite. Welcome, Joan. Good to see you. Good timing for a spur of the moment Q&A. That's awesome. I appreciate that, Joan. I was kind of curious. I was wondering, I figured today might be a little bit of a smaller Q&A session, which is totally cool. I didn't promote it or anything aside from just sending out to my email list. I think most of you probably saw the email invite, but if you're seeing this just live on YouTube, awesome. Welcome in. I'm going to be live for the next hour or so to answer your questions. Karen says just outside of Baltimore. Awesome. Welcome in. I got your name right, Casey. Awesome. Jones in Chicago. Love Chi-Town. Love Chi-Town. Awesome, guys. Kate's here as well. Hey, Kate. Good to see you. Awesome to see you here. I'm going to go ahead and while everyone's dropping in the chat saying hey, again, if you just joined us, welcome in. Say hey, drop into the chat. Say where you're from. Tony from Colorful, Colorado. Nice, Tony. I've never heard it quite said like that. Colorful, Colorado. Nicely done. I'm sure it's nice and snowy in some of those areas. Here in Columbus, Ohio, it's pretty much just wet for the most part. We haven't had any snow so far this year. So, Fast Nickel had a question to kick us off. I have a question regarding WooCommerce and Wordpress Courseware. I'm not familiar with that. If you can't answer, but I have a video link that helps. So I'm not familiar with WP Courseware. Not familiar with that. I'm not sure if I can help out otherwise with that question, but let me know. Definitely curious about that. So WooCommerce and Courseware. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with, not familiar with Courseware at all, but luckily, if you guys are curious about building online stores and kind of wondering what's involved, I love WooCommerce. I know, no system or platform is perfect, but I love WooCommerce. It's what I build my store on. It's what I built all of my online stores for our clients on. I love WooCommerce. It's extremely integratable. Yeah, there's a lot of premium add-ons you have to get for it generally, but it is really, really nice and easy to work with. I mean, there's a learning curve to everything, but I found WooCommerce to be more user-friendly than most of the other systems here. So Casey said, I will put my questions here. Yeah, go ahead and if you have a question, Casey, go ahead and drop it in the chat. With YouTube, there's no official Q&A section, so feel free to do that. Afternoon from Columbus, Ohio, InfoShare LLC. Well, I'm in Grove City, which is just southwest of Columbus. So let me know where you're at, InfoShare. Good to see you. Welcome from just probably a stone's throw away from where you are. Jen is in the house. Jen says, watching from Stoke-on-Trent, England. Welcome in. Welcome in. Fantastic Nickel said, hit the likes. Thank you. Thank you, Fantastic Nickel. I appreciate that. All right, Karen's in with a question. By the way, if you guys have questions, I'm open to answer anything you're curious about. Karen would like to know, I've been designing websites for businesses, but I'm not adept at doing SEO. I just purchased your SEO course. Awesome, Karen, and we'll be going through that over the holidays. So yeah, that's what I would recommend, Karen, as far as a beginner's guide to SEO. Although my course actually takes you from beginner to expert status pretty quickly. I mean, the thing about SEO, and the more and more SEO people I've talked to, I've been reassured in this. It is mostly common sense and fundamentals. I was terrified of SEO for so long. It's why I didn't really do it. It's why I never offered it till later on. And actually later on in my web design agency, I partnered with somebody who did the ongoing SEO, like content updates, backlinks, listing information, stuff like that. But what I've learned over time, especially as I built this brand with joshhall.co, is that SEO is basically, it's the fundamentals, which are good navigation, good page structure, H1, good, page structure for Google, because you do have to please Google. You have to please the robots, but it also has to be good content for humans. And here's something, that's really, really important that I want to make sure you guys are aware of. There is a new currency in web design that is more important now, and especially heading into 22, and that is average time on page. So let me say that again if you just joined us. One of the most important currencies, particularly when it comes to SEO, is average time on page. Google is recognizing this. YouTube is recognizing this. And oddly enough, I've got a whole slew of YouTube videos I'm going to get started on in the new year. So those of you, we're on here on YouTube. There's a lot more coming for YouTube videos. But what I'm finding out and what I'm working on is, I'll do some shorter videos that are 5 to 10 minutes, but YouTube is also rewarding people who stay on the channel, stay on those videos. So that doesn't mean that you should have all your blog posts be, books or massive pages with 5,000 words. But if you're going to make a 1,500 word article that is really engaging and is really going to resonate with your target audience and people you're helping, it's worth doing that because Google is recognizing that. YouTube's recognizing that. All places want to have the attention on their platform, ideally. Another quick YouTube strategy for those of you who are maybe thinking about doing YouTube videos for clients. Here's a little trick I'm going to start implementing on all my videos that I found to be extremely useful. And I had a good colleague of mine, Wes McDowell, who has a thriving YouTube channel, and he told me this. He paid like $3,000 for a seminar to learn this very tactic, and that is to not end a video by saying, okay, bye-bye, thanks for watching. Lead it into another one. Once you get at the end of a video, say, okay, if you enjoyed this, watch this video next, and this will help you with the next aspect of this. That will just keep the funnel going. So just something I wanted to mention there in regards to SEO and content strategy. Karen, you also wanted to know, how do you explain to clients what level of SEO was included in a website package, basic SEO? I don't plan on getting too deep in SEO. So yeah, great question, Karen. So as you go through my SEO course, this will make a little more sense because what I recommend doing is tiers, and it's the same principle I have for maintenance plans, which is you want to ideally offer clients some sort of range of 3 tiers. And you might wonder why 3. Well, I love 3s for a lot of different pricing models, but there's kind of a psychological thing here with 3s, and that is in sales, good, better, best. So your SEO clients, depending on the situation, maybe they just need good. If it's a local automotive place that doesn't have too much competition, good might be okay. Better is obviously ideal. But the people who have a lot of competition and have a budget to get into content marketing and advanced SEO, they're going to want the best. So as far as how to kind of price your SEO plans, again, the course will show you that, Karen. But what you can do is really factor in the amount of work that you're going to do with the content and keyword research and other value adds in those tiers. So when it comes to keyword research, there's a variety of ways to do that for free. But there's also a lot of different ways that you can do like paid keyword research. And if you're curious, Karen, I do have a trusted keyword research gal who's awesome. Her name's Michelle. If anyone would like to talk to Michelle, go to editedbymichelle.com. Let me drop that in the chat real quick for you. Highly recommend Michelle for any keyword research and keyword editing. She's awesome. She's been on the podcast a couple times. She is my go-to SEO gal. She's who I use for my stuff. But anyway, you could do free or advanced keyword research and add that in there, and you could do that in your plan. So the good plan might be like 5 keywords. The better plan might be like 10 keywords. And then the best plan might be like 15. And then you would say in the best plan, 15 pages are optimized with keyword research. You do the page titles, the metadata. You can use Yoast or Rank Math to optimize the page as much as you can, and then you can tweak the content. You don't necessarily want to write content unless you are providing copywriting for clients, which is an SEO service. It's kind of weird because it's conversion-based, but it also bleeds in with SEO. It's up to you. It sounds like you might not want to go that far, Karen, but that's what I would recommend. And then you could essentially just add more into each one of those. It's kind of like maintenance plans. For those of you who have been through my maintenance plan course, I teach in there, you want to have 3 different plans, and the services don't change. It's just the amount of value you add with all those services. So hopefully that helps, Karen. Great questions. Let's see. InfoShare LLC said, just watched a video with you and Chris Mistrick yesterday. Very interested on how to get clients. Okay, awesome. So you'll be excited. I'm working on a full guide right now for the new year, a complete guide on getting clients. There's a lot of different ways to get clients. I generally always recommend that you start with your personal and professional network. And I know it's lame, it's cliche, but it's just true. Everyone I know who does well at getting clients starts with who they already know and in their professional network. It doesn't mean that the business owners you know are necessarily going to become clients. They might, but it's who they know. Because if you know 5 business owners, and even if you're not in a great place in the world where like your great A clients are going to be local, even if you know 5 people online or can get in groups with LinkedIn or whatever it is, if you can network with 5 different people who are business owners, it's not necessarily them, but it's who they know. It's the 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 people they know. Suddenly, you're now in a network of like 250 people once the referral train starts, to where you can start getting clients that way. So I always recommend that. Start with who you know in your professional network and your personal network. The thing is, guys, don't be afraid to let people know you are doing web design, particularly if you're brand new, because a lot of people want to get clients, but they don't market. They just sit there kind of like hoping people are going to magically come to them. People are not going to magically come to you. You have to let them know. And you don't have to be super salesy, like buy my services now, but you can say, hey, I'm doing web design now. I would love to help you bring your website to life and help you grow your online presence and help you grow your business by having an awesome website. Let people know. And people need to see something repeatedly. This is something I'm learning now because I'm just dabbling my feet into Facebook ads. I hate being salesy. I hate ads, but I do find it to be really valuable to kind of fill in a gap to just keep people seeing me on Facebook after they go to my website, even if they haven't purchased something. But just to let people know, hey, I'm here. I want to help you. This is like what I'm teaching and learning myself right now in regards to ads. Now, you don't need to start with Facebook ads, but the idea of just making posts, even if you get one project, post it. Post it to everybody, even if your Aunt Jane doesn't need to see it. Maybe Aunt Jane has a hairdresser and then they need a website and then there's a $1,500 job for you. So that's how I recommend starting. There's ways to do it locally and online as well through Facebook groups. LinkedIn is a biggie for getting clients now, but you got to put yourself out there. I know it's tricky. You got to get out of your comfort zone, but just remember, if you are the only person in your business, you have to be the sales guy or the sales gal. You have to. And it doesn't mean that you need to be sleazy and some used car salesman. You can serve and you can share what you know. Even if you don't know that much, share what you know. If you watch my little 10-minute video on YouTube about Google Analytics, that's what you know. You can share that with your clients. So there you go. So hopefully that helps. Give you some ideas. Always people who you know, anything in person as well, will always go farther. You always get a return on investment if you can join a networking group or a business-to-business meeting. Let me take a drink here real quick, guys. All right, Casey's in with a question. Recently, I designed a website based off a theme for a client. The design was approved, and I began to build the website. The theme was broken, and nothing worked at all. I had to rebuild it. What would I do? Well, I use Divi, Casey. I know there's probably folks here who use all sorts of different themes. I use and trust Divi. It's kind of one reason I went with Divi is I started using that theme in 2014. I've never looked back. Just like we talked about with WooCommerce, there's pros and cons to everything. With Divi, the reason I personally love it is because you can make it look like anything. It is, I don't want to say it's a blank slate, but you can make it a blank. I mean, you can use child themes, you can use the layouts it comes with. That's what I recommend. So I guess I've never necessarily had that problem with purchasing a broken theme. If it is something that is literally broken, Casey, the theme provider should offer you some sort of, refund, or they should be able to fix it. The other option would be if you know of another theme that looks like that, that's trusted, go with that. So if you're using ThemeForest to buy a WordPress theme or something, you could try to mimic the same thing. But I recommend Divi. It's what I use and what I recommend. Also, I highly recommend, if there's another builder you feel comfortable with, like Elementor or Oxygen. Oh, I can't believe it. Josh is recommending Elementor or Oxygen. It's whatever works for you. It's whatever is going to work for you. I personally like Divi. And by the way, if you guys want to, you can go to, hold on a sec. Let me put this in the links for you here real quick. You can go to, hold up. Let me put this on the screen for you. You should see joshhall.co/Divi if you are curious about Divi. And if you go there, you'll get a special discount because I partner with Elegant Themes to where you can get Divi for pretty awesome discount off. I think right now it's 20% unless they have a sale going. So check that out if interested. So hopefully that helps, Casey. That's a tricky situation. I would use Divi, something I'm familiar with, or I would find a theme that looks similar that I feel comfortable with, or a page builder that works under the header and footer and go that way. Tony, my man, Tony would like to know, in the SEO course, do you go over how to package your SEO services and how to offer the service? Tony, yes, I do. I show you both. Like I said, you could basically set up tiers, good, better, best, and then whether it's keyword research, content optimization, page optimization, those are generally what you're going to do for most pages. And as a site as a whole, I always recommend you do what I call SEO Boost, which is a $500, although you can charge whatever you want. It's basically a $500 SEO foundational add to your sites, and it's awesome. Most all clients want to go for it. What you could do is just that generally SEO Boost, and something I cover in the course, is basically that you will optimize up to 5 pages on the site. Usually that's the home page. That is your primary services pages, which might be a few pages. Then it might be a blog post or some additional value add in with your services, but it's up to 5. So if a client only has 3 pages and you do 3, but you might just tweak the content a little more. But you could add that in as SEO Boost. So yeah, you guys are welcome to check out my SEO course. It's available for you now. By the way, if you're interested in checking out courses, my Christmas sale is on right now. So if you're interested, great time to lock in access because courses are 20% off. So no hard sell on that, but if you're interested, yeah, hopefully that'll help you out, Tony. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have for that. But you want to offer 3 different tiers, and then you can offer services one time or ongoing. And the ongoing services, I don't want you to fear that, because you can partner with people who, like Michelle or like other people who will do advanced SEO. But even if you just set up a 3-month or 6-month action plan for SEO, for optimizing 1 page per quarter or 1 page, per month, you can go about it that way as well to make it really manageable. So hopefully that helps, Tony. Would love to help you out with that. Jerry with a good quote. On-site SEO is straightforward and understandable. Quality link building is extraordinarily difficult. That is well said, Jerry. That is very well said. What's really funny about this is, so I might slightly disagree with you where you say the link building is difficult. I don't find link building difficult as much as painstaking and time consuming. My website at joshhall.co is basically these 2 things. It's basic SEO. A lot of the pages that I rank for, guys, I didn't optimize SEO Yoast, which is what I used. I didn't do any special type of, formatting. I didn't do any keyword research for most all my posts. I just more recently started doing keyword research, and they're doing great. I also use YouTube videos, which is key for my blog posts, because I'll do a tutorial, and then the blog post is what has the meat, the potatoes of the article. But those are the 2 strategies I use. Basic, just basic SEO principles that have 1 title, answer a question, that do, get good human traffic, but it's also a little pleasing for the robots, and that's it. I didn't put a keyword in. I didn't do anything fancy, and they're ranking great. Yeah, I could go to the next level, and I might take those to the next level, but it works. And then the backlinks have happened over time. So like Jerry said, it can be difficult. I might just change the word difficult to tricky. Maybe tricky's how I would view it, but great insight, Jerry. That's really good. Karen says 3s are good. 3, 3, 3. Yeah, what's the psychology behind 3s, guys? There's something behind that. There's something behind 3s. Ed is in the house. Ed, good to see you. Great to see you here, Ed, my man. Getting your business going for 2022. Pumped. Joan would like to know, why do some links not work in a Divi button module if they are links with HTML code? This is an interesting one, Joan. Okay. If they are links with an HTML code. So if it is an HTML code, if it's like a widget or something, that's likely code that wraps the link in. Like, you would probably want to put the HTML for a button in a code block in Divi. This is any builder. Let me put that back up. As far as the Divi button module, the only thing you want to put in that is the link to the URL that it needs to go to. So that should not, the Divi button should not have any external HTML in there. It should just be a URL that will go in there. So hopefully that helps. Karen says Divi is so worth the cost. Dude, honestly, it's crazy how cheap I think I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think Elegant Themes is a terrible business model for them because it's crazy cheap. Like I bought Divi for $250 in like 2015, and we've got hundreds of sites all over the world from my agency using it. I use it. All my demo sites use it, and we haven't paid them another dime. I almost feel terrible. Luckily, I'm an affiliate for them now, so I think it's evened out, and I really promote them. But yeah, it's crazy. Like all these builders, guys, it's so worth it. Just remember, too, this is actually a good point. I know some of you are starting out, and every penny is crucial, and I understand that. I totally understand that. But just remember, when you are picking a tool that is going to be the foundation for all of your websites and foundation of your business for a very long time, it is worth money. It is worth it. I mean, what's the lifetime license now for Elegant Themes? Isn't it like still like $200 or something? Hold on a sec. Let's go. Actually, let's go to my link, joshhall.co/Divi. Let's see what we got here. 20% off, $199 lifetime license. So you guys, you should see my screen here. This is my link, joshhall.co/Divi, if you want to check that out. This will be something like that. Can you guys see that? Oh, yeah, you can. Cool. But yeah, you can get 20% off Divi if interested. But that's crazy. $200 for lifetime access. That is just, that's wild. That is wild to me that they would do that. So yeah, that's wild to me. But hey, good for you. Good for all of us. So just remember that when you're picking any tools, anything that is going to be like a primary tool for you, it's worth investing in for your business. Awesome. Ed says, fan of Josh's classes. Thank you, Ed. It's great to have you in all the courses now, man, and my web design club. Ed recently joined my club, so coaching Ed right now. Would be happy to coach you if you're interested in my web design club. Let me know. Happy to answer any questions about that. Basically, a coaching community where I coach everybody. Casey said, thank you, Josh. I had better luck with Elementor than Divi. Recent problems with the global colors not staying set, which resulted in some major problems with the client. Hoping for better luck. Hey, that's fair. That's fair, Casey. I mean, what's interesting is I still only use my global colors that are set in the theme setup portion, like the theme options. I do not use the global colors in the modules. I have seen that before. I think they got all those bugs worked out, but yeah, that might be the case. Ed's here. Just saw the email, logged in. Hey, Ed, good to see you. Yep, I'll still be live for a little over half an hour here to answer any questions you guys have. It could be tech, it could be business, it could be whatever. Let me get through some questions here to catch up with the chat. Let's see here. Ed's back in. Say, need advice getting started as a freelancer. Whoop, whoop. Finishing Josh's web design business course, maintenance plan, Divi, beginner course, website design, and process course. So the question, what should I prioritize next? All right, a little coaching session here for you. I think that path that you just laid out for you, I know, because you recently joined my club and you let me know kind of where you're at. Yeah, it's a lot there. What I would recommend, so as far as actual courses go, let me put this in the chat for you guys. If you are interested in any of my courses, but you're like, I don't know where to start. I don't know which one to do or what order. I'll drop in the chat right now, the comments, an overview of my courses. I generally recommend that. What I would prioritize for you, Ed, is probably the process course. If you haven't gone through that yet, my process course is basically my SOP. It is my SOP, the standard operating procedure for building and launching sites. It's actually planning, building, and launching. So 5-phase, 50-step process. I would go through that, make it, your process to refine your services and get going with that. The other thing I would do, Ed, is I would recommend the design course. My design course is basically conversion-based design principles that will help you not only make pretty sites, but sites that convert, sites that actually turn visitors into a customer or turn them into a lead. Guys, when you sell your projects, hold up, let's do a close-up. You don't want to sell a pretty design. You want to sell conversions. Customers and your clients, they just want a website that's going to get somebody from a visitor to a lead or to a customer or to book a call or schedule a consultation, whatever it is. So I can't recommend that enough. You can't just make pretty websites nowadays. You're going to be a commodity. You got to make something that's going to convert. Luckily, basic conversion principles will help with that. You guys want a few basics? Anybody? All right, let me give you a few basics. Assertive call to actions. Instead of saying contact us, say get started or start here. Or if it is book a consultation, a free consultation, book a free consultation. If you're selling an online product, purchase, sign up now. Avoid things like read more, try that, or, that are kind of like passive languages. That's a quickie, nice conversion tip. The other thing I highly recommend, just last conversion tip for you real quick. When you think about you and your clients' websites, think about it like a journey, and think about when you put yourself in the shoes of a potential customer, what are they looking for? And how can you guide them through that website to make a sale? Social proof is a big one. Adding testimonials, case studies are really popular now instead of just reviews, case studies. Do something like that that is going to engage them and really make them feel comfortable moving forward instead of just having a thrown together type of layout and approach. If you really think about the strategy of what somebody should learn and feel good about and then move forward, that will help you boost conversions. So a little vague on some of these tips, but I'm happy to go into more detail on some of that if you're curious. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps, Ed. Let me see where we're at here. A lot of chat about Divi. Awesome. Awesome. Let's see. We got somebody from Sweden. Welcome. Mr. Entrematter. Is that right? Entremator? Something like that. My favorite band is from Sweden, Meshuggah. I don't know if you like Meshuggah, but if anyone's looking for some heavy stuff, turn some Meshuggah on. Let's see here. Let's go through some of these chat. I want to make sure I don't miss any questions. Casey also wanted to know, how do you design websites? What do you use for hosting Divi sites? So I use SiteGround. That's who I use. There's a lot of great hosts out there. WPMU Dev is a really great company. I just had their CEO on my podcast recently. Did anyone listen to that episode? Did you guys hear 156 with James, the CEO of WPMU Dev? That was awesome. Let me put that in the chat real quick. If you guys want to get an inside look at somebody who's a leader in the industry, check out this one. It was awesome having him on the podcast. It was so cool. He was really cool. Anyway, WPMU Dev is a great option. Flywheel is a good one as well. Those are the best, like, affordable ones. You can go premium like WP Engine, but I recommend SiteGround or Flywheel generally, or WPMU Dev. Now, how do I design sites? So that is covered in my design course, Casey, as far as like how you actually design it. Let me just give you some pointers. If anyone's new here watching and you're like, it's a blank screen. And this is the worst. And I've been through this numerous times over and over. You get ready to design, you're all fired up. You open Divi or Elementor, whatever you're using, and there's a blank screen and you're like, it might look something like that. You just hear crickets. You got nothing. If that's the case, one thing I highly recommend doing is, first off, sketch it out. You don't need to do an advanced wireframe, but just sketch out the main elements. That's what I always did. And I did it on a piece of paper, old school. No fancy wireframes, just old school. So what I did and what I recommend is just sketch it out. What are the main elements that you're going to want on this? Start with the homepage. Don't do the whole site. You can even tweak the navigation and stuff, but just homepage. What's the title going to be? What's the hero section? Is it going to have one main call to action? What is that call to action? A lot of this will come from your website questionnaire that you send to your clients. You guys should definitely have a website questionnaire once you onboard them that gets some of the main details about their clients, their service, the type of clients they want to attract, any sort of funnels, and that'll help. Most successful websites, if you could follow any sort of basic design, it would be a nice, what we call hero section, which is the first thing you see that is really engaging, and it really explains why somebody's here. What are they going to get? Like, somebody just reached out about coming onto the podcast, and I looked at their podcast page, and it was just like, I don't even know what they do, and they help podcasters. So, or I think they help course creators. See there, I'm already confused. So say really clearly what you do. And let me just share something that I learned on my site. So let me go, hold on a sec. Where's my share here? You guys should see this. Yep. So something that I did that I found a massive help with engagement on was this little heading text right here. So when somebody goes to my homepage, because it's a personal brand, it could be very confusing. Like, what does this Josh dude do? It's very clear. Learn how to build awesome websites and create a web design business so that you can have freedom and lifestyle you love. It's what I use in my podcast. It's what I've been using in my marketing. And I'm telling you guys, this header right here has been an absolute game changer for me because it explains what I do and it explains the results. Now, did I sit down and whip this out in 1 minute? No, it took a lot of time to refine this. But the idea is just that. You want to explain what you do and the result that you or your clients are going to get. Ideally, that's the biggie. I mean, I don't want to oversimplify it, but it kind of is that simple. You just want to explain what and why. What's the result? So anyway, what was I saying? The design of a homepage. Most all successful design homepages or whatever designs will have an engaging header that explains what, why, and then some sort of visual with it. Whether, I mean, for me, it was a personal brand, so it's me. Now, could I feature students happily designing on a laptop somewhere? Sure, maybe I'll do that, but it's something that represents that visualizes that. The other thing is a one strong call to action that says, again, like we just talked about, what do you want somebody to do? When you should ask your clients, this will make you look awesome and will help conversions. Ask your clients when somebody goes to your website, what do you want them to do? Is it book a call, like book a free strategy session? Is it to contact them? More specifically, is it to get a quote? Is it to move forward? Is it to purchase something? What do you want them to do, and make that the main call to action? If you are going to have numerous call to actions, like maybe sometimes you do want people to submit a question, also get a quote, maybe also to schedule a free call, that's where the idea of the journey, the funnel comes from. Then from there, you can have multiple call to actions under that, but there should be one priority call to action. You can have two sometimes where it's like get started or ask a question, but ideally a strong call to action. And then in the rest of the page, I often just, because I love StoryBrand and I love a lot of marketing frameworks, but I've found some of that to be a little overwhelming, and I often like to just follow the W's. What, why, I guess how you could put in there, like a process, how you're going to solve, really what and why. What do you do? Why, either why the company is, what are your values, or why they should be there, why they should choose you, a little social proof, and then how you're going to help the process. So WWH. You don't really need to answer where because we're remote workers. So don't need to answer where, but what, why, how. Just remember that. What, why, how. It kind of sounds like an Indian chant. The what, why, how. That's as far as I'm going to go with my Indian chants. All right. Daryl said, had to miss that episode. No problem, Daryl. Yeah, go to joshhall.co/156. You guys will get a kick out of that one. Awesome. Jones said you liked that one. Awesome. Yeah, it was really cool having James on. Got Troy Dean on coming soon. First episode of 2022, which is going to be awesome. He's the owner of Agency Mavericks, big-time WordPress guy. So, hey, William, what advice would you recommend for learning more on plugins and how to set them up properly? Ooh, good question. So I am not a plugin creator or dev myself. What I would say, though, is I would pick, if you're just going broad WordPress plugins, you could absolutely do something that's more broad-based, just to WordPress. The trick with that, though, now is that so many people are into certain themes. Like a lot of people are just plugin creators for Divi or plugin creators for Element or Oxygen. It kind of depends on what you're most comfortable with. If you are a Divi guy, I would go that route, plugins for Divi. It'll be easier to market because if you just do broad plugins, it's going to have to be something that, like most people, for example, if I'm going to look for a plugin, I'm going to look for a Divi plugin likely rather than just a broad-based plugin, just because it'll more than likely work with Divi since it's the same code base and same IDs and classes and stuff like that. What I would say, though, is just know who your audience is. This is kind of basic principles for any sort of product. Know who your audience is and then what is that plugin for. You can absolutely do just a standard WordPress type of plugin. So the question would be, what type of plugin is it? Who's it for? Let me throw your question back up there, William. And then the other thing is, like, what is going to separate your plugin from all others? And there's a lot of things you can do. It doesn't matter how saturated a market is. If you create something that's really good, hone in on that and go for it. This is a piece of advice I got from Nick Roach, the founder of Elegant Themes. I met him at a WordCamp back in 2017. That's wild. But he told me, I asked him, if you would have done something different, what would you have done? And he's like, we would have focused on Divi sooner, because they launched Divi, then they launched Extra. Do you got anybody use Extra? Divi Extra here? It was kind of like a Divi type theme, but just it was more for newspapers and articles. And he said it wasn't a flop or a failure, but they found themselves going back to just Divi to expand that. And I think the same principle can apply to plugins. Have one focus and really go in on that. There's actually a really good example of this. Let's see. It's called Divi Pixel. These guys are one of the best examples that I've found, because I I don't know the owner well, but I know of him, and we're colleagues in Facebook groups and stuff. But you guys can go to Divi Pixel if you want to check this out. It's just a good example of a plugin company that focuses on, actually, let me share my screen real quick for you. This company is basically a plugin creator for Divi. I mean, it's in their name. It's Divi plugin. So it's strictly to that. Now, do they have more flexibility to add different types of plugins? Absolutely. They have all sorts of plugins, and they have different features and different plugins in here. So you can kind of have plugins within plugins. But the idea is still the same of you ideally want to have, oops, sorry about that. You want to have a plugin that is appealing right to a market to make a dent and solves a solution and is really good. So that'd be my recommendation. William also said your design course is the best. Oh, awesome. Help my process and help me organize my process so much better. That's awesome, William. Thanks, man. That's awesome. I love hearing that. Super, super glad to hear that. Yeah, the process is tricky, guys. So what they're referring to is my process course. If you guys want to check that out, you can just go to joshhall.co/process. I'll throw this link in the, do I have that short link on there? I think I have that short link on there. Nope, I don't have it on there. I need to add that. But you can just go to my courses, go to the process course. It again is my SOP. By the way, what I was just looking at, what I was trying to figure out was I use a plugin called Pretty Links. Speaking of plugins, that is a broad WordPress tool. If you guys ever want to create short links to something, use Pretty Links. It's a free plugin. You can get the premium version, but Pretty Links is awesome. I use it for my podcast. So for example, let's go back to, let me share my screen again. Let's go to the episode. So I'll go to 156, right? joshhall.co/156. So you might think, well, if you click and you go into 156, where is that going to go? It's terrible for SEO, right? Voila. It shows the entire, it actually redirects the entire short link, the pretty link, to the full page, which is SEO'd, which is optimized for SEO, if you will. So just wanted to share that. Pretty Links is a great plugin. I use it all the time and highly recommend it for, if you want to, I use it for funnels for you can go to joshhall.co/learn/start/scale, and that'll zip you to funnels, which are pretty cool. So you can use that for your clients too. Let's say your client is like, I'd love to get started. And they're like, what was it? Your site /get/your -website -started. No, just start, something like that. Hopefully that's a good help for you. Awesome, William. Thanks again for that, man. Casey's back in with another question real quick. Do you think solutions like Webflow will make WordPress irrelevant? All right, here we go. Good question, Casey. I'm going to lump this in with the same type of questions that I would get about Squarespace and Wix, because I had a client ask this years ago. Fortunately, I already started doing the proposal and did a mock-up and stuff before I got my processes in place. And then he was like, by the way, I went ahead and just built my site on Wix. And he's like, Josh, are you worried about Wix and Squarespace and these things running WordPress out of business? No, or freelancers for that matter. WordPress is open source and it has an incredible community. What's the latest stat? I think we're over 40% of the internet. I'm pretty sure. Let me look real quick. I'm pretty sure it's over 40%. Let's do WordPress statistics. I should have that bookmark. Okay, so there's, I've heard conflicting things. Based off of, this is 22, 60% of CMS share, 15% of websites, excuse me. I know that's different now. If anyone's interested, feel free to do a quick Google. I don't want to take too much time on the Q&A for this, but last I heard it was over. Oh, here it is. WordPress is used to power, let me share my screen so you know I'm not making this up. WordPress is, what was this? Okay, this is recent. 39.6% internet, so just about 40%, which is awesome. So all that to say, I'm not worried about WordPress going anywhere. I mean, there's a lot of great tools and stuff, but the trick with WordPress, I think that what really separates it from a lot of these other content management systems, if you guys are new and you ever hear CMS, it's content management system, is it's been around for a long time. Matt Mullenweg, who I'm trying to get on my podcast, I would love to interview Matt. I mean, everything rises and falls on leadership. They have a great leadership team there. Automatic is the company that runs it and owns it. They've really, gone out of their way to make it community minded and keep that strong. And the fact that it's open source and they're very open about that is huge. Wix, Squarespace, I'm not too familiar with Webflow, but a lot of these other ones, there's some restrictions, and I wouldn't be too concerned of it. Good question, Casey, but yeah, I'm not worried about it running WordPress out of town or anything. Silver Knight Solutions. I love that name. SKS. No, sorry for the dad joke. That was a bad one. I wouldn't go with that. Keep it with Silver Knight Solutions. My customer is signing up for Vimeo. She wants to know which plan to sign up for. I'll be adding her videos to a LearnDash course I'll be creating for her. Awesome. Yeah, so I use Vimeo for my LearnDash courses. LearnDash is the platform that I run my courses through, and I use Vimeo to host the videos. I also use Vimeo for all my Web Design Club videos, which include Q&A replays, coaching calls, monthly trainings, all those. So I love Vimeo. What I would do in this case, I'll just call you Silver Knight, is I would say what are the recent tiers? Gosh, I signed up for Vimeo so long ago, I don't even know. I kind of forget what I'm paying for it. I know I upgraded to one of their premium plans recently. Let me go incognito so I see how much they are. Let's see here. So pricing wise, perhaps I should share my screen for you. Plus 5 gigabyte a week. That's likely going to be fine. I think I'm at the pro. Yeah, I think right now I'm pretty sure I'm at the pro version right now. I'll have to look, so what's annually? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's what I'm on right now, which is like plenty enough. And I post a lot of video there. So depending on the video size, I would start with Plus. The cool thing with that though, is that you can always scale up or scale down. So you can start with Plus, and then if she's like, crap, Silver Knight, I'm uploading a ton of videos, I'm up on the plan, just upgrade, and then you'll be good to go. So that would be my recommendation on that. Again, that was in response to what Vimeo planned to go to. Another great option too for videos, guys, hosted videos, is Wistia. Wistia is also a great one as well. Edward says, the website design course is outstanding. Thank you, Edward. I appreciate that. That's awesome, guys. By the way, if you just joined us and you're curious, we're talking about some of my courses. I do have my Christmas sale on right now, so feel free. If you're interested in any courses, now's a great time to lock in access. You'll get 20% off right now, 14-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to join. I'm really looking forward to helping you in your web design journey with all the different courses I have, whether you want them all. I do have a bundle option, or if you want to go one by one, it's always an option. And if you're curious, for anyone who joins a course, you can always upgrade to my bundle. Just let me know, and you'll get a discount for that. So, and also wanted to say, nice, glad to know you use Pretty Links. He uses as well. Yeah, Pretty Links is awesome. I love Pretty Links. Let's see. Dale would like to know. Hey, Dale, welcome in. What is your biggest takeaway from your efforts doing the podcast? Ooh, all right. Oh, I'm excited to answer this. Do you feel like it has given you more authority? All right, Dale, here we go. 100% to both of that, both those things. Authority, big time. I mean, I've been talking about bringing the CEO of WPMU Dev, James, on. Got an interview coming out here in a couple weeks with Troy Dean. I've had Pat Flynn on the podcast, who's a well-known entrepreneur. All of these folks, I would have never had a chance to talk an hour or two if I didn't have a podcast. It opens up so many doors, so many opportunities. I love podcasting. It's definitely boosted my authority. Also, you asked, what are some of the biggest takeaways? Wow, how timely. The episode that I have coming out next week on Monday is actually going to explain this in a little more detail, Dale. So let me go back to my Google Doc on this, my notes for that episode. Let me just bring up my takeaways, because I'll be happy to share this with you. I'll go in a little more detail next week in episode, which will be 148. Here we go. So some of my top takeaways, I'm trying to think of if I covered this. Oh, this was a behind the scenes look at my podcast. Anyway, sorry. I will just say, just off the cuff, some of the biggest takeaways. For one, I've learned a lot. Getting a chance to talk with people all over the world is incredible. It's opened up, even outside of just the WordPress and web design realm, it's opened me up to different cultures and the way people think differently in different countries. It's been really, really cool. So as an uncultured boy who has never traveled the world from Ohio, it's been really cool to get kind of a virtual cultural learning. That's been awesome. As far as how it's helped my business, other than like personally learning, business, it's been huge because it establishes something that is so crucial in business, and it's hard to get in other mediums, and that is trust. A podcast, because it's so intimate, because you've got these headphones in and you're listening to somebody over and over, even in interviews, you still get a feel for them. It just builds this trust factor that's unmatched. I've never been able to generate trust with YouTube videos and anything on Facebook like I have with the podcast. Interestingly enough, too, there's a lot of stats that have come out in the past year or so about podcast listenership, particularly being that there's like a high percentage of podcast listeners who make 6 figures a year or above, meaning some of your best clients are often going to be listening to the podcasts. And I don't mean as a person, but I just mean like they're just in more mature places in business and they have money to invest in the service. I found this to be true with my courses. A lot of people who join my top tier courses, like my business course or maintenance plan or my bundle, often mention the podcast. So, and not to say that everyone listening to podcasts is in the same place in business, but it is interesting. Podcast listenership is often, you're in a different frame of mind than like YouTube or other content marketing. And there's nothing bad. I mean, we're on YouTube right now, but I put myself in the shoes of when I listen to podcasts versus when I go to YouTube for something. If I go to YouTube, it's generally to get an answer to a question or to hop on something like this. I often will attend live streams and stuff like that. A podcast is something that's ongoing. It's something that is, again, more personal. It's kind of like I view podcasts as almost like a coaching session, almost once a week or a couple times a week or whatever it is. So yeah, great question, Dale. It has really, if you just joined us, I'm just answering Dale's question on the podcast and the takeaways. It's just been huge at establishing trust, bringing really quality folks in. I just love it. It's also expanded my network. Like now I have this incredible network that is continuing to expand of amazing entrepreneurs and web designers. And again, I would never have talked to James, the CEO of WPMU Dev, Troy Dean, who's coming out in a couple weeks, Pat Flynn. I would have never talked with them if I didn't have a podcast. It really opens up the doors to that. So if you guys are interested in starting a podcast, I highly recommend it. Although you do have to be really intentional about who's listening to your show, because your ideal clients may not be listening to podcasts as much. You might actually be better off with YouTube videos or doing more like tutorial-based kind of content. Great questions, though. Karen would like to know, how many plugins are too many? The less, the better, I know. Yeah, kind of a tough question to answer, Karen, just because, yeah, you don't want to have too many, but I have a lot of plugins. I have like 40. I think I have 40 some on my site. So I have a lot, but a lot of them are like WooCommerce extensions, extensions on other tools that I'm running as far as like a core. So Zapier, so I use Zapier to glue a lot of the automations I have together, and it's a WordPress plugin that feeds into Zapier. So a lot of those are kind of tertiary, but yeah, you definitely want to try to, the thing is, when it comes to plugins, quantity is actually not near as important as quality. So you can have 40 plus plugins as long as they're all really good and they're updated and they have good authors. If you have 5 plugins that are like really cheap or they're free and they're questionable, that's actually, so here's the big point. 5 plugins, hold up, close up time. 5 plugins that are free and not updated and risky are way worse than 40 quality plugins that are updated. So that's my quick advice on that. Great question there, Karen. Joan would like to know, with plugins, it depends on the conflict they create. Even if they're created for Divi, sometimes Divi updates and plugins can crash. Yeah, that's a great point. That's kind of where it comes to having reputable and quality plugin authors. The other thing I'll mention when it comes to this is when you guys do updates, I usually wait about a week, particularly for big updates. One thing to remember is that there are generally, so there's going to be a few different type of updates. Here, I'm going to try to visualize this for you. Hold on a sec. I'm actually going to do this live. So let's say, and I am going to be working on getting a little like drawing aspect to my live streams moving forward. So I can actually draw this out moving forward. So let's do this real quick. Let me share this for you guys. Are we here? There we go. So this is what you'll typically see with plugins. You'll see three aspects of it. You'll see, well, I didn't mean to say three with a three, but there's the first slot, there's the middle slot, and there's the last slot. What this basically means is, let me see if I can go over here. This is going to be, hold up, I liked it better up here. This is major. Anytime you see a 3 or something like this, the first slot is a major update. So if it's version 1.0 to 2.0, that's a biggie. Wait a little bit on that. I call that major. This is kind of, I call it mild. This is, I teach this in my website maintenance plan course when you're doing updates. The middle is mild. The latter end is minor. So you can do, when it's like 3.2.4 and then it's going to go to 3.2.5, that's usually no big deal. But if it's going from 3.2 to 3.3, again, what is it? It's a mild update. You'll probably be fine, but you might wait a few days and check the forums to see if there's any updates or issues. And then if you're going to do a big one, if it's 3.2.4 and then you're going to 4.0, just let the bugs work out for the first few days and about a week or so, and then do that update. And again, you can always do like a staging environment, meaning you can just clone your site over using a plethora of tools. Wherever you use Manage WP, you can clone it and then try those updates there. Cool thing is with Divi, I don't know if Elementor has this, but with Divi, you can just roll back the Divi version 2 if there's an issue. So hopefully that'll help as well. William wanted to know, how would you explain to a client of using you over Wix, Shopify, and other DIY services? So I do have a podcast on this, William, without taking too much time here because we're already getting close to an hour. What the heck number was that? Let's see. I'm just going to do a quick Google here. I'm trying to remember what episode I talked about that. 60. Episode 60 for my podcast. Guys, if you are curious about how to answer this question that William just dished out, which is a great question, how do you explain to clients that you basically want to go with me and WordPress over these do-it-yourself services? There is your game plan. What I just posted in the chat. In short, actually, let me share my screen and we'll just take a look at this real quick. Owning your space, owning the actual content, that is a biggie because with with Wix and Squarespace, you don't own anything. They own it all. WordPress is open source. You can do whatever the heck you want with it. So you have no control with these. The upgrades for these tools are usually way more expensive than WordPress. Yeah, some WordPress upgrades can be expensive and add-ons, but not nearly generally as much as Wix and Squarespace. There are limited add-ons that you can do. You're not going to be able to customize those like you can with WordPress. Designer nightmare. If there's anybody here who has experimented with Wix and Squarespace, it's likely that you don't love designing with it because of all this stuff. Some people like it, but it often isn't the case. Not great for SEO. That's a biggie. Some do okay, but it's not meant for great SEO, to be honest. Support is a big one. Moving those to another platform can be really tricky. So those are kind of the main reasons there, guys. Feel free to check out episode 60 of my podcast to hear my full thoughts on that if you'd like to. And again, that list that I just showed you, you can copy and paste it if you'd like. There's my Christmas gift to you. Take that list, copy and paste it, and put it on. Make it a blog post on your site. Well, don't rip it off, but take what I've given you and add on to it. Make it your own. That's my recommendation. Great question. So hopefully that helped, guys. All right, I'm going to cook through these last few questions here pretty quick. Let's see. Let me get back to where we are. Awesome. Okay, it's Greg. Silver Knight Solutions is Greg. That's right. Greg, I remember that. I remember your branding name. I think I sent you a welcome video, and I may have said that. So Greg, it's Greg here. Awesome. Learning how to set up LearnDash with your course that I just started watching. Awesome, Greg. Yeah, hopefully that helps out. Keep me posted. I'd love to hear how my LearnDash course helps you out there. That is the first course in my new category of web entrepreneur courses, which I am going to add on to. A lot of people asked me recently about what other courses are in the works. I'm going to add some more entrepreneurial type courses like email marketing, video marketing. So I'm really excited about those. Maybe even one on podcasting. Maybe not for 22. We'll see. Let's see here. Make sure I get into some folks who just joined us. Joan wanted to know, speaking of creating courses, I'm in the LearnDash course. How come you don't use the Divi Builder to style the course page? To be honest, Joan, I like to keep course pages extremely simple. For me, when you're going through a course, more often than not, it should just be a video and the content and any downloads. That's generally all I want because people are going to go through course pages pretty quick. I never felt the need, to go wild with design. And so I have 10 courses, and I don't know how many post types are in those courses, but I've probably got like, I don't know, hundreds. I mean, some of my courses have like 30 or 40 lessons in them. So hundreds of course pages. I cannot imagine needing to go in and update those individually. I mean, if you're going to use builders, you want to try to save stuff globally, but the thought of doing that just seems like a nightmare to me. So I just like keeping it simple. Just the basic Learn Desk WordPress page. That's what I recommend. Edward, my man, said the bundle is the best option. Get them all. Also, yes, I do have a bundle option if you're curious, guys, for all the courses. Let me know if you have any questions on that. Alex, Xander, Rogers, my man. Hey, Alex, good to see you, dude. Alex and Alex watch. So you guys don't know Alex was actually on my podcast. Man, Alex, that was early on, right? Let me give you a plug for that. That was that episode like 9 or 12? Hold on a sec. It's funny because I just use my own site or Google for finding my old like content now. Yeah, so episode 9. If you guys are curious, a little surprised I got that number. My man Alex, who's might still be in the chat right now, had a really great episode. We actually went to high school together, and he's a local guy here who does social media. So definitely check him out, especially if you guys are interested in some social media help. Alex's social is the brand, but let me share my screen for you real quick. Yeah, Alex here. Awesome dude. Really great episode about being a parentpreneur. So Alex is a parent himself, and we talk a lot about work-life balance. Definitely recommend revisiting this episode if you guys are curious, because it was a really great chat. So welcome in, Alex. Great to see you, man. It's been a while. I haven't seen you at Transcend recently. We have a coffee shop that I work at a lot, and then I usually see Alex there. So Ed also said in regards to the podcast, it's 100% trust building. That's how you decided to buy the courses. Awesome, Ed. Yeah, it really is the truth. I mean, there's just anytime you do content repeated, it does build that level of trust. And I love YouTube. I'm going to add more for you guys who are watching me on YouTube often. Going to do more tutorials. But man, the trust that you get when you're doing a podcast, it goes a long way. So yeah, definitely something to consider. We got a personal question here. Let's see, Mr. M3 Lee 89. How do you feel about facial hair? Well, I think it's pretty cool. I wouldn't personally know much about it because my facial hair game it's not great. If any, it's white trash at the best. It gets pretty bad. So that's why I don't grow it out usually. It gets trashy, and I like to keep my wife happy if I can. Although I had thought about doing a Movember beard, or maybe I'll just go like super creepy and do a mustache next year. I'm thinking about that. But yeah, the facial hair, not in the genes for me. So yeah, good to have you here. It's awesome. Francisco, I was just watching Elf last night. Francisco, that's fun to say. Francisco, thank you for joining. Awesome to have you here. Awesome. Chile. Awesome. Great to have you here. Let's see. William said 40. Those are rookie numbers. Got a bump. I'm not sure what that's referencing, William. You have to let me know. I don't remember what I was just talking about. Let me know what that's in reference to, William. Mr. M. Lee 89. I was going to say, I figured that was the other Alex. Yeah, we got two Alexes in the house. So how long have I been doing the podcast now? It started in the fall of 2019. So just over 2 years. And guys, I love it. I mean, it's a lot of work. Luckily, I have scaled my podcast a little bit to where I don't do the editing and all the show notes now. I've handed that off, which is huge for freeing me up, being able to focus on interviews and the talks. Actually, if you guys are curious, I mentioned this a little bit ago. The next episode coming out, which will be episode 158, I'm doing a deep dive on my podcast. I'm literally going to pull the curtain back and just share how I do it, how I do the interviews, how I get guests, how I run it, the processes. Also share like how I got some of those top tier guests. If you're curious, like, dude, Josh, how did you land Pat Flynn on your podcast? I do share about that. So check out episode 158. And again, now you can just go to joshhall.co/158 on Monday when the episode goes live. But yeah, it's been 2 years. The most serious question from the other Alex is, are you seeing Spider-Man No Way Home? I have to be completely honest. I cannot keep up with Spider-Man stuff. How many Spider-Man movies are there now? I have nothing against Spider-Man. I'm not bashing it. I just like, it seems like every quarter there's a new Spider-Man. And I'm like, this is like number 18 or 19. I can't keep up. Now I'm really confused too. So here we're going to get off the rails because now I'm confused. Is this all canon towards the same story? Is this different versions of different stories? Forgive my ignorance. I don't know. I'm a Star Wars guy and a family man. That's about as much as I can keep up with. I mean, I love Marvel stuff, but I haven't watched that many and I haven't gotten into too much Spider-Man. So I don't know. I need help. If there's a guide on that, Alex, let me know because maybe I'll watch it, but I can't keep up with so many Spider-Mans. Are they different stories or is it the same story just in parallel universes? I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. All right, let's get back to a couple serious questions while we get ready to wrap this up, guys. Let's see. Casey wanted to know, are you or anyone in the chat in any marketing, branding, logo, social media focus groups? That's a good question. Yeah, feel free to go in the chat. Man, I'll tell you what, guys, if you do marketing and let's focus on branding in particular. That is such a valuable service now. Web designers need branding partners. Like I really don't have many. So I've got like a couple. Most graphic designers and branding people, not to be offensive, but most of them flake out or most of them just end up disappearing. Not all, but if you're one of those who are not all, hit me up. You can actually just go, oh, my email's on the screen. josh@joshhall.co. Hit me up there. I want to know because I want to add some more branding folks to my network. So that would actually be super helpful. Got a couple in my web design club, but that's like it. I knew some awesome graphic designers. They couldn't wake up before 10. They couldn't meet deadlines, but they were great designers, but a lot of them aren't doing it anymore. So Dale, my man Dale, what software/tools are you using in your studio setup for these live chats? OBS Switcher. I'm actually using Ecamm Live, Dale. I am going to do probably in the new year a little look at my new studio equipment because I wanted to go live more. I wanted to spice it up. I wanted to be able to add some sound effects and try to make things a little more exciting and yeah, stuff like that. So I'm using, well, I'll show you real quick here briefly, guys. Down here is my Rodecaster Pro, which does these sound effects. So when I make a dad joke, bam, there it is. You don't need to go wild with all this stuff. I am using additionally a Canon EOS R with a wide angle lens. And here is my little, it's called a Stream Deck. Cool. What's cool about this is I can add these little effects on here. I can do my intro, stuff like that. So those are the main tools that I use, Dale. And yeah, as far as the system that runs all this is Ecamm Live. And I did a Q&A, what is it, last month for YouTube, and I didn't realize I had it set up wrong. So when I went live on YouTube, it didn't go live through Ecamm, and then I got all flustered, and it was a little rough, but we got it worked out. This is the first official Q&A where I'm adding these questions, by the way. So I love Ecamm because now I can look at Ecamm, and then I can pop up Dale's question, which is really cool. So awesome, guys. Well, we're at an hour here, so let me just answer a couple final questions. So we'll end the questions here, but I will answer what we have here. Karen said, I'll just stick with Star Wars myself. Way to go. Chris Badgett's in the house. Says, cheers. This is the CEO of Lifter LMS. Chris just did a training in my web design club about annual planning. And guys, this dude is awesome. Actually, we can share, I think we can share this, Chris, because it is a download. If you guys are interested in if you're interested on figuring out how to better plan your year, of course, you can join my web design club and watch that training. But I highly recommend that you pick up Chris's annual planning system. It's right here at, you can just go to lifterlms.com/learn, and then that'll bring it to that link. But definitely recommend checking. It's like a little free mini course he has for you guys. Check that out. Super, super helpful. And it's a nice little guide for planning your year. Real quick, Pickett 1987 wanted to know, what are your thoughts on using AI content generators? All right. I know this is like the big new thing. What I would say, I'm not completely against it but the thing is with SEO, I mean, this really gets down to SEO. It's got to be friendly and applicable for humans. So people are going to know generally if something is robotic. Now, a lot of these are getting pretty good, but I wouldn't necessarily trust them, but like for a full thing. But what I would say is they could help. You could absolutely add it as a toolbox. If you wanted to use an AI generator, like Jarvis or Copysmith to help, then by all means. I actually pick at 1987. I would love to know if you do this, how it goes, if it ends up working or if it's just a nightmare. I would love to know about that. So let me know. I would not trust it fully, in short, but I would not be opposed to it being a tool that can help, especially if you're going to offer it for clients. You need help creating services pages and blog posts and stuff like that. Joe, and I knew there was a reason I liked you. Star Wars, the best. That's what I'm talking about. You guys saw my my background, right? I mean, I don't think it's any surprise there. So that's how we roll. Awesome. All right, we got some good chat, but I'm going to wrap this up here. Justin said, I'm seeing Spider-Man in 2 hours. Way to go, Justin. Enjoy. Again, not bashing it, just not quite my thing. Drew wanted to know, welcome, Drew, as we get ready to wrap up these final questions. I missed it. Okay. What do you do for your daily to-do planning? For daily stuff, I actually recommend this, which is my Action Day. It's called an Action Day Planner. I don't know if you guys can see this. Well, I didn't have much on board for that week. Most weeks look a little different than this, but this is my Action Day Planner. The cool thing about this, this was last week, so I didn't have anything planned, but what I generally do is you can write out it's going to be kind of hard to see that. But anyway, there's a ton of different planners. I like the Action Day planners because you can write out goals. You can actually, hold on a sec. Let's go to, this is the big version. I have a smaller version for 2022 ready. But the cool thing about this is you can write your goals for the week here, and then daily tasks if you just want to jot them down. And then I like to use this column here for just quick notes. Like if I want to remember to call Chris or to send an email out or something like that. And I don't necessarily want to make it like an email reminder or something in my calendar. That's what that guy is for. I love my Action Day plan calendar. That helped me so much. And I would just drop them in there. If it again, isn't going to be in a project management software and it's not going to be in a calendar, that's where it goes. That's my recommendation. So yeah, hopefully that helped. Greg, right? Greg wanted to know, you say you're using 40 plugins aside from WooCommerce and add-ons. Do you have a core set of plugins that you use for every site? Do you have a podcast about this? I don't have a podcast, but I have an old video that I still recommend. You can go to Josh Hall, top plugins. I'm probably getting good SEO rankings by just searching for my old content now. There's another WordPress tip. So these are some free plugins that I recommend, guys. I just dropped in the chat. You're welcome to check those out. Still like a lot of those. There's a couple that are outdated. There we go. All right. Let me add that to my list. Let me add that to my revamped list. Let's say, oops, I think I just gave you actually don't know what I just did. I think you guys are seeing something on my screen. Whoops-a-daisy. Let's just take that off. All right. I'll add that to the list to do a revised version of good plugins. Yeah, that'll help. There's quite a few good ones, but just stick to the good ones that you trust, premium if you can, and that'll help. So awesome, guys. With a lot of chats I'd love to feature, but let me just wrap up if there's any final questions. Let's see here. Joan says, happy holidays, everyone. Thanks, Josh. Really appreciate the Q&A sessions. Awesome, Joan. Great to have you here. Yeah, happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. Kate says, thanks, Josh. Always a delight. Awesome, Kate. It's great to have you here. Kate's also a member of my club. I know you messaged me, Kate. I will get back to you before Christmas about Circle stuff, which is actually the community building platform that I use, which I'm super excited about. Awesome. Joan wanted to know, that's a handwritten Action Day planner. Yeah, that's handwritten, Joan. I think they have a digital version, but again, I don't get too detailed with it. It's more of just reminders that, again, my rule of thumb, if it's not in the calendar, it's not a notification on my phone, it's in there. I glance at that and it just keeps me on track for days and for weeks. Alex number 2 said, you guys follow Josh on Facebook yet? Hey, thank you for the shout out. You can actually just go to joshhall.co/Facebook and hit me up over there if you'd like. That would be awesome. One more time. That is, if you guys want to, for those of you who are visual, you can go to joshhall.co/ let me put this up there for you. Should be right there. Whoa. That is huge. Hold on a sec. All right. We're rambling on at the end of this call. Just go to joshhall.co/Facebook. Sorry about that. Love pretty links for that stuff. All right, guys. I think we've got all the questions. Thank you for joining. Hope you enjoyed this. We will be doing more lives, Might do one next week to end off the year. Thinking about it. So if you guys would like that, let me know. If you guys have any questions about courses or anything, just a reminder, my Christmas sale is on now. So if you've been thinking about joining any courses, now's a great time. I would love to help you in your journey as we wrap up this year and get ready for 2022. There's no promo code or anything. The sale's automatic. And if you have any question, guys, just let me know. You can actually just email me, josh@joshhull.co. If you email me, I will get back with you. I read all my emails, and I always get back to the personal ones. Don't get that many emails, so very easily manageable for me. So happy to do that for you. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Have an awesome Christmas break. Again, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody. Thanks for being here. Really excited to help you in your journeys. Or follow on Insta. Pickett said, yeah, I appreciate that. Pickett 1987. Thank you. Yeah. My Instagram is fairly new, so I don't have that many followers, but I'm really enjoying that. So you can go to joshhull.co/Instagram. If you want to follow me over there, I'd love to see you over there. Who knows? Maybe I'll do some lives on Facebook and lives on Instagram separately. Of course, with YouTube as well. So awesome, everybody. Good to see everybody. Karen says bye. See you, Karen. Thanks for joining. Edward, thanks for taking the time. No problem, Edward. Happy to do it. Ed, good to see you. You've been busy today. Not too busy. Today was a moderate day. Did the training earlier, which I basically just learned. And then I just put up some Christmas lights a little late and then did this. So happy to do that for you guys. Greg says, thanks for your time today. Thanks for joining, Greg. Good to see everybody. All right, everybody. Cheers. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Might see you next week. And we'll definitely be happy to answer any questions you have. Cheers, everybody.